As part of the city's efforts to ensure that Boulder is a welcoming and inclusive community, Boulder has updated its municipal code to enhance sentencing for bias-motivated crimes. Some of those updates include mixed motive hate crimes, religious expression, and increasing potential sentencing from 90 days to 364 days in jail. Joining us to explain what the bias-motivated crime ordinance means are Human Relations Chair Nikhil Mankadkar and Boulder District Attorney Michael Doherty. Thank you both for joining us today. And Nikhil, talk to us a little about the Human Relations Commission. It brought forth some of the changes in the bias-motivated crime law for your municipality. What was the motivation behind bringing that forward, and what's the purpose?
So I'll go back a ways. About a decade ago, I began following hate crimes closely in the community, following prosecutions, all of the cases, both locally and then even nationally. Through that, I got involved in assisting and advocating for victims, and I began to see the difficulties in prosecuting hate crimes. There's such difficult cases to prosecute because they involve motive. And I saw the ways that the laws may not be the best tool for law enforcement, and I began thinking of ways that maybe we could change that and do better on it. Flash to 2016, after the 2016 election, the commission began having packed houses at meetings, and people reporting to us at public comment incidences of bias and hate in the community, from Muslim students having head coverings torn off and being called names, to many others. At that point, I thought this would be a good opportunity to be responsive to the community and maybe channel some innovative ideas I had been thinking of over the years through the commission into the law.
So what are some of the major changes in the law, and why are those innovations important?
So two major changes to the bias-motivated hate crimes law in the city are coverage for mixed motive hate crimes and coverage for religious expression. So one, on mixed motive hate crimes, an example of that would be, say, two people out drinking in a bar, bump into each other, someone spills a drink on someone, they get into a dispute, it escalates, and someone calls the other one racial epithets, and they get into a fight. With the mixed motive protections, we now address the ability of what used to be the ease with which defense attorneys could cause confusion in those cases and say, well, they didn't mean it that way, or it was about the spilled drink and it wasn't a racist incident. Now with the mixed motive protections, we have coverage in the law for regardless of any other motive. You can prosecute those as hate crimes now, and it makes it, it gives it clarity to judges and to prosecutors in those cases. So that's a huge one, because you can imagine those kinds of incidents happen a lot, where they escalate from something else into a hate crime. The second component is religious expression, which we also gave a definition of that names specific forms of religious expression practiced by minority religions. Now, this is something new that is not contained in a lot of hate crime laws as well. And we named things like head coverings of all kinds. So that would apply to yarmulkes, turbans, and headscarves worn by Muslims. We also covered uncut and unshorn hairs. So for Sikhs or Hasidic Jews, it would apply to them. So including these innovations in the law, they're so important, because we're really giving law enforcement a better tool to prosecute hate crimes and hold people accountable.
And what do you see happening with this implementation going forward?
A couple of things. I think we can do better trainings for law enforcement with these laws, and then also get trainings out into the community on allyship and how to not be bystanders. But I think Michael's in a better position to talk about some of the things he's doing with law enforcement training.
Well, what I appreciate about the work that Nikhil has done at the city level is that it's helped us raise awareness throughout all of Boulder County, and also offers the opportunity for law enforcement and prosecutors to receive better training and instruction on how we can best combat hate crimes in the county. And I think, quite frankly, that as community leaders and elected officials, we have the opportunity, if not the obligation, to set the culture and climate for the community and help people understand how we're going to approach diversity and how much that's an important part of who we are in this county and this country.
So, Michael, since you became the district attorney, have you seen an increase in hate crimes, and what has your office been doing to kind of address that and head it off?
So since 2016, nationwide, there's been an increase in hate crimes. Boulder's not immune from those challenges either, and we've certainly seen increasing hate speech and hate crimes committed within Boulder County. So when I became district attorney last year, we launched the Bias and Hate Crimes Initiative. I worked closely with Nikhil on that as well. And what we did in conjunction with law enforcement and other groups such as Out Boulder and the LGBTQ community is set up a bias and hate crimes hotline, and I have the handout and the number here. The purpose of this, if someone's victimized or is aware of a hate crime and they're uncertain or uncomfortable in contacting law enforcement, they can contact the district attorney's office directly. We also started offering enhanced trainings for law enforcement and for prosecutors and connecting with community groups to make sure we're reaching out to affected groups and that we're using the best possible approach in responding to hate crimes. Because I think as a county, as a district attorney's office, we're doing a good job with the cases that are reported to us. Where I have the greatest concern is the cases that go unreported, because people are scared to come forward or they have immigration concerns or what have you, and they never report the hate crime to law enforcement in the first place. So trying to build that bridge to the community and develop that trust between law enforcement and community groups and the district attorney's office to make sure we're doing everything we can to fight hate crimes in Boulder County.
There's a lot of education and awareness going into that.
Yes.
So how do you feel about the work that's been done so far to address the bias-motivated crimes, and is it making a difference in Boulder?
I would say yes. I say that for a couple reasons. First, I look at the trainings that we've had for law enforcement and prosecutors, and certainly I think we're more prepared and more equipped to deal with hate crimes when they do happen here in Boulder County. So I think we've taken some positive steps. The Bias and Hate Crimes Hotline has been very well received in the community. We're out in the community all the time talking to different groups and giving out the information on the hotline. And I think that kind of trust and the work we're doing to make sure we're raising awareness and having the best possible response are positive steps we've taken. But certainly if people watch the news, they know that we still have hate in our community.
There's a long way to go.
A long way to go, but we're absolutely committed to it, and I feel fortunate to work with Nikhil and the folks in the City Council and the work they've done at the city level to make sure that we're doing everything we can.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on the show and talking about this important community issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.